I do think that these protests are motivated by a correct understanding that the system is rigged against average people. So the energy that is built up in the system is about something very real, and I don't want to discount that. But the belief structure of the movement and the proposals for solutions are absolutely insane. They are civilization-destroying ideas, and they are spreading by virtue of a discontinuity between what's in the interests of the individual on short time scales and what's in our collective interest on long time scales. So, in effect, people are solving a personal problem by embracing this ideology, which causes the mob to temporarily leave you alone, but it empowers the mob to go after the next level. And yeah, I guess the short answer to your question is it unfolded a bit differently. It probably unfolded a lot faster, but the trajectory was clear from the beginning because, you know, I don't know why this was a surprise to anyone, but colleges educate people who then move into the rest of the world. And as they do, they carry whatever they learned in their classes with them. So if they learned good things, that's great for us. And if they learned absolute nonsense about why things aren't working and they were told that there was a simple solution that involved them tearing everything down and utopia arising in its wake, then they'll tear it down.
But Bret, there's people who's going to be listening to our podcast who may have sort of dimly aware of what's happening in America and all the rest of it, and the Black Lives Matter movement. Why do you think, and to use the word civilization ending for these ideas, isn't that just quite a doomsday prediction?
Well, yes, but when you're headed towards doomsday, you want to make a doomsday prediction. That's something I've got some calculations I can show you later about why that's true. But no, it's actually pretty simple. So what we have is a horizontal revolution taking place in the U.S. And, you know, it's not just the U.S. You can see it across the English-speaking world and in some ways across Western civilization. But this horizontal revolution is basically infused into everything by virtue of largely millennials who have learned critical theory and its downstream consequences in college and elsewhere. They've carried it quietly with them when they were low down on the ladder inside of these institutions. And then suddenly they get the sense that they are demographically empowered to bring about this utopian change. And so they've each gone after the power structures inside their institutions. That means, at least in the U.S. at the moment, we have a problem everywhere simultaneously, right? We're seeing evidence of this in the federal government. We're seeing evidence of this in every single tech company. We're seeing evidence of it in every college. And the fact that I'm saying every should tell you something, right? If this were simply very popular, if it were 70% of institutions, well, that would leave us some sort of foothold, because that would mean that the 30% of institutions that weren't affected would have some hope of rebooting the structure. But because it's every college and every company, we don't have anything with which to retain our sanity or our capacity to navigate. Now, that could simply be a threat to the U.S., and it could be that the U.S. was going to hobble itself by embracing this nonsense. And, you know, if your engineering school embraces the idea that, you know, logic is a European kind of oppression that has been imposed on the rest of the world, which is literally something that is being suggested here. If our engineering schools do that, they will empower the engineering schools elsewhere in the world to take over, because, of course, the bridges built by people who don't think such things will be stronger and last longer. But think now, if the U.S. does this, if we hobble ourselves, that leaves an incredible power vacuum internationally. Who is likely to fill it?
Yeah.
All right. So my point is, how is this a threat to Western civilization? Very simply, right? You've got a effectively monopolar world, and the thing that constitutes the organizing structure of that world, you know, corrupt and broken as it is, but nonetheless an organizing structure that holds liberty as a high value, that thing is now engaged in some kind of ritual suicide.